Hello everyone, it's a nice sunny day, so I'm out on my bike again. Hopefully I'll have plenty of these sunny days over spring and summer. I gave it a good clean today. I mentioned in that last video that it was covered in dust and all sorts of grime on it. It's from the last time I rode it at end of autumn time last year. Well, obviously before that first outing of this year that I did last weekend. But give it a nice clean and a polish. So it brings out this nice colour on the stripes, this nice grey, meteor grey, if I remember right, is what it's called. Candy white and meteor grey. I also give my jacket and helmet a good clean as well. Because I've got this like small bobber mudguard on bike, driving around in autumn and winters definitely not practical in this country, and I'd got spray all the way up on my bike and up back of my helmet, so that were all cleaned, and I give me jacket a nice coating of dubbing to make it all nice and waxy and protected. Looking like a Bobby Dazzler today. So just out on a random ride. I don't really know where I'm going, just heading out towards the countryside I guess, and we'll just talk about whatever springs to mind. But watch out on this road surface, it's a bit gravelly. I'm going to avoid any kind of puddle. I don't want any spray whatsoever on this bike now for the next 6 months. I guess one topic of conversation could be Top Gear, despite it being old news now. I know someone in comments asked about that recently. Obviously, the Top Gear UK has now been cancelled altogether, seeing as Jeremy Clarkson has been sacked, and James May and Richard Hammond have also left along with him. This was all down to that scuffle where one of the producers, Osin Timon, I think his name was, apparently Clarkson got face on after a day's filming when they reached the hotel that they were staying at, and there were no hot food, and proceeded to punch this producer in the nose, after which he took himself to hospital the next day. Thing is, there were all these like kind of speculations on what had happened, and there were like kind of two camps. There were the camp of people who were absolutely outraged at Jeremy Clarkson, you know, the usual group of politically correct people who were outraged and thought he should be sacked and sent to prison and whatever else. And then there was the group of people who kind of didn't really care for what he'd done at all, and were kind of petitioning the BBC to bring him back. And I'm kind of 50-50. I mean, first of all, if the rumours are true that he's punched someone while at work, then obviously he should be disciplined as you'd expect any other person in a working environment to be disciplined for assault. But what's this? A bit slow at this junction. Oh, a tractor! Little red tractor! Beep beep! So, yeah, what were I saying? Before I got distracted by a tractor, like a little boy. Cows! Just trying not to scare this dog with my shotgun exhaust. So, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't really believe that, you know, how it was described as like a vicious assault and bullying and all this kind of stuff. One of the things is that the witnesses there, I mean, James May and I think the ex-Stig, Perry McCarthy, both said that it was a minor altercation blown out of all proportion, which in the case of Jeremy Clarkson is usually what all these gaffes are about. You know, it's Jeremy Clarkson's the kind of right-wing kind of person who says things that aren't politically correct, and obviously the PC brigade go absolutely mad about it. Oops, I think I should have gone down there. Oh, I'm not very good at me turning the roads on this bike. God, that were a lot easier on my training bike, but I've been riding a couple of years now, and you don't tend to do turning the roads very often. It's a bit difficult on this one as well, with wide handlebars and low seating position. Can't really get that full lock. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. The PC brigade like to go mad over everything that Jeremy Clarkson says. A lot of it isn't offensive whatsoever, but people like to take offence to things like that and be outraged at things. So I'm leaning more towards that it was a minor altercation. Whether this punch on the nose was actually a slight push or something, I don't know. It also makes me wonder about it that this that no one reported this except Osin Taimon after he'd taken himself to the hospital the next day. Well, in fact, no, sorry, he took himself to the hospital the next day, but it was Jeremy Clarkson who reported it. So if it was so bad, and if the whole hotel had heard this verbal and physical assault, as they described it, if it was so bad, surely someone would have, either called police, reported it, and obviously, and like I said, like James May, obviously is the mate, so you might think they might stick up for each other a little bit. But I mean, if Jeremy Clarkson had punched someone, I'm sure the rest of the team wouldn't have intervened. So that's kind of what my thoughts are in it. And if you think about like the other things that Jeremy Clarkson's been in trouble for, a lot of them are down to the BBC, or the things that he's said have just been taken way out of context and blown out of all proportion. So I mean, like I think the biggest one was the N-word scandal. But you've got to remember that was oh, ambulance. So yeah, this N-word scandal, you've got to remember that this was a deleted scene where he's kind of murmured the N-word to disguise it, which is part of a nursery rhyme, which is more so towards the older generations, because obviously the N-word is kind of outcast now. It's a no-go zone, except for if you're a rapper, and you can freely use it then in all your hip-hop songs. But that was a deleted scene that was never aired, and it was I think Jeremy Clarkson in his apology video said that he did his best to have that particular one removed, and it was replaced by the clip where he replaced the word entirely with the word teacher. But obviously someone's leaked that 2-year-old footage from the archives, and then obviously the whole thing's exploded in the media. Then you got to think about like the Argentinian special, where there was the car with the FKL number plate, which apparently signified was a kind of an offensive number plate to signify the Falklands. I mean, Jeremy Clarkson's not going to have gone out and bought that car himself, so it's going to have been the BBC, the producers of the show, who have sourced this car for him. Yeah, obviously it's Jeremy Clarkson who gets his life put in danger on that show, and there are all these media reports of it being racist and everything. This Falklands number plate. The only element of racism in that whole show was the Argentinian mob who were chasing down and like do serious damage to the British film crew, purely for them being British, and they've got some gripes about the outcome of the Falklands War in the 80s. And then there's all these other ones where it's kind of made witty jokes, like there's a slope on it when he was talking about a bridge on this other special. I mean, I'd had no idea that slope was apparently a slur for an Indian person or an Asian person. But it's little things like that where it's like the kind of like Monty Python style jokes, which I think the older British generations, it's like kind of old British wit and humour, which doesn't go down well in today's politically correct society. Which is a shame, really, because I think obviously racism is a important subject, and it's just been watered down and made demeaned, I should say, which I think is more insulting to anyone who's facing racism, like proper racism throughout the world. You know, people being offended by by jokes and words that obviously aren't derogatory and aren't meaning malice to any sort of person or group of people. I think there needs to be a clear distinction between actual examples of racism and uses of words with no malicious intent. So anyway, after going off on that tangent, I think going back to Top Gear specifically, I think another mistake the BBC made was to pull the show altogether. I mean, there was no reason to stop the 2 or 3 shows that they'd already had recorded from airing, but now it's totally off the screens altogether. And obviously all future episodes have been cancelled because the contracts have been cancelled now. As for the future, I don't think Jeremy Clarkson, James May and Richard Hammond will come off as the losers in this situation. I think it's definitely the BBC. I mean, that's not necessarily a reason for them to keep Jeremy Clarkson on. Obviously, if their independent inquiry into what's happened is deemed that it should be sacked, then that's the right decision. But I think they'll quite easily go on to continue a show on another channel of some kind. But it's what BBC now do with the Top Gear setup. There was reports of that woman from the Great British Bake Off being rumoured to do it until she had to rule it out altogether after receiving death threats, which is outrageous. It's another problem of the modern society, is people just go off making death threats to people for no reason. I mean, that host in Taiwan received all kinds of death threats, which was stupid. As if he's somehow the reason that it all happened. I mean, even Jeremy Clarkson's come out and said for people not to blame him. But I think what the BBC will end up doing is continue with their politically correct policy, and they'll have an awful set of presenters which fill some quotas. Probably won't have anything to do, any sort of car knowledge whatsoever, or interest in cars, and it'll just be a complete failure of a show. Whereas what I think they should do is go slightly more down the 5th gear route and have actual race drivers. You know, 5th gear have got Tiffany Dell, who used to also present Top Gear back in the day. Jason Plato and what's her name, Vicky Butler Henderson's obviously got some skills. So having proper racing drivers presenting the show and making it more focused on the actual cars is definitely the way forward, I think. And I don't know if any of you guys have seen the Japanese I've just realised my battery died at some point throughout this video, so I don't know how much of my ramblings you've just missed out on, but I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I'll quickly end this video before battery dies again, so thanks for watching and I'll catch you all later.